Alright, hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel once again, and welcome back to System Shock Radio. So, as always, I got some topics for you guys today. Some ones I think you're going to enjoy. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Of course, if this is your first episode of System Shock Radio, welcome. If not, welcome back. But if you are indeed new here, we talk about a variety of things here on System Shock Radio, including pop culture. We do some nerd stuff like some movies, video games, comic books. We talk about some wrestling. We do some inspiration. We do all kinds of fun stuff on here. So, if that is your kind of thing, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well as leaving a like and a comment. But without further ado, let's get right into it. I do have to head out soon, so I will try to go through these semi-quickly, but not too quickly to where I rush through these, but quickly enough. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, the first thing that we're going to talk about is that honey has come under some controversy. I'm not talking about the honey that the bees make. There was already a movie about that, the bee movie, which I got a review at some point here on the channel. But nevertheless, I am talking about the browser extension Honey, and some stuff came out. Admittedly, this has been going on for a little bit, at least about a month or so. But yeah, some stuff came out about honey that unfortunately wasn't good. But the honey was not sweet. In fact, it was very much sour and very much polluted in corporate greed. So, essentially, to give kind of the skinny of it, there are other YouTube videos that have covered more in depth about honey, about the scam, and about that controversy. But to kind of give the skinny of it, honey, you might have seen plenty of advertisements for it. It's from several of your favorite YouTubers partnering with Honey, doing a sponsorship for Honey. And essentially, what Honey is, I should probably answer that first. Is because I'm sure a lot of you are like, Nigel, what is Honey? What exactly is that? So Honey, he pretty much was a browser extension that you can install onto your browser, and you use it to find the latest coupons and clip them automatically so that you can save at checkout, at least in theory, because as it turns out, Honey wasn't really doing that. Oftentimes Honey wouldn't be able to find coupons, or would just find the coupons that you already had, so you didn't really save anything. But somehow it got worse, because that and certain YouTubers, the aforementioned YouTubers, had certain promo codes that they would use in order to kind of hit their cut of profits. It's to an extent, there are some details I might be missing out on or leaving out, but essentially, they would use their promo code to make it a beneficial sponsorship, partnership, what have you, them partnering with Honey. But as it turns out, Honey would at the last possible moment and swap out the sponsor promo code. Oh, there we go. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place today. But they would swap out the sponsor code for their own, so they would be making the money off of it. It's not the YouTuber, content creator, what have you, that partnered with them. So it caused very much an uproar, or people were understandably upset at not only the viewers, but also the YouTubers who had worked with Honey previously. And a lot of people also brought up that Markiplier had kind of had his suspicions about Honey. There was a reason he hadn't partnered with Honey at all, and he turned out to be justified, vindicated, what have you, in that. So, because of that, Legal Eagle, the YouTuber I definitely enjoy watching, and Legal Eagle is now filing a class action lawsuit against Honey, for their very shady practices. So, admittedly, this is still kind of ongoing, so we will see how things play out. It's a class action lawsuit against not only the browser extension Honey itself, but also PayPal, because it's PayPal's browser extension. And so that is that. Like I said, that is still ongoing, and crazy situation. Now, me personally, I hadn't used Honey. I think I attempted to try it one time. I'm I think I installed it, albeit briefly, but I found myself not saving with it and ended up not really buying anything because I wasn't really saving, and so I hadn't really used it. I don't even know if I still have it on my list of extensions. I would imagine probably not, but no, it's not even here in my extension, but I guess as in hindsight, I'm glad I didn't because this was crazy. When this came out, so a very crazy, very saddening situation there. To see yet another another case of, like I said, corporate greed in that regard, and them screwing over the people, being sponsored by them, supporting them, stuff like that. That definitely does. That definitely does suck. But next we have our first look. We have our first trailer, what have you, for Daredevil Born Again. So Daredevil is getting a new show on Disney Plus. Has pretty much kind of a continuation of the show on Netflix, and people are pretty interested. People are pretty excited for it. Me personally, I haven't seen the trailer. I've kind of made it known how I feel about trailers. I want to go into stuff as blind as possible for the most part. Sometimes I'll catch a trailer. Sometimes it'll accidentally be against my will. But so the trailer is out. People are pretty excited, pretty interested to see. I did see some images from the trailer as well as some like short clips. So Daredevil does have the multiple helmets based off his various designs in the comics, including the standard red helmet and even the yellow helmet as well. Also looking at the cast here, looks like obviously Daredevil, Kingpin, Foggy Nelson, and they're coming back. Looks like Punisher is going to be a part of it as well. Of course, there's Daredevil and Punisher, very classic rivalry there, and Punisher was even part of the show and even has his own show on Netflix. It's whether or not Punisher will have a show on Disney Plus remains to be seen, or what they'll do for the shows for the rest of the Defenders. Now, if I'm not mistaken, and I can go to Disney Plus to verify, if I'm not mistaken, the rest of the Netflix shows are on Disney Plus, but it's interesting to see them and bringing back Daredevil for the show. This is a show that they had been talking about doing. A lot of people were wondering when it was going to come out because we knew it was coming out, but now it's confirmed to be for March 2025, and people are definitely excited. I'm trying to go to shows here. The Defenders. Yep, they have the shows carried over from Netflix. So if you missed out on the shows from Netflix, there you are. Ooh, and they even have the Daredevil movie from 2003 that nobody liked. But yeah, as for this one, a lot of people are excited to see. Admittedly, I'm so behind on Disney Plus shows. Not even just the MCU, which I am incredibly behind on the MCU as well. I'm not gonna lie, but even like the Star Wars Disney Plus shows, stuff like that, I gotta get caught up at some points, essentially. But my next thing we're gonna talk about is that Penta is officially in WWE. This Monday on Raw, Penta officially made his WWE debut, his Raw debut. Everything like that, and as Michael Cole literally said himself on commentary, it was the worst kept secret. Like everybody already knew that Penta more than likely was on his way to WWE. They had teased the debut of a luchador to face Chad Gable. Well, they had the different. They had the different teaser video showing Penta. They laid it out bare that said Penta, and even like the day of Raw, Penta's merch officially went on WWE.com. So you can actually buy Penta's merch, which I believe includes not just the t-shirt if I go to W Shop. Not just the t-shirt. Literally, as soon as I pull over in W Shop, it's literally the first thing like there in bold. So he's got the shirts. Some actually pretty solid shirts. I'm not gonna lie, as well as two Penta masks. So I might give me one of those. I don't know. I might wear it on camera. I don't know, but yeah, so they are putting over Penta in a very big way, and admittedly, seeing Penta in a WWE ring is pretty surreal to think about. Especially him being in AEW not too long ago, and him being kind of a day one. He's been there since not only the first AEW show, but since All In, which was kind of the precursor to AEW. So we'll see Penta in a WWE ring, was pretty interesting. But I was excited. A lot of people were excited, and by the time we got to the match, they definitely more than delivered. First of all, talking about the presentation of Penta, them building him up in the big way, having a actually pretty good theme song. Who'd have thunk it? And I can't lie, Def Rebel's they've been cooking with some theme songs, with the WWE theme songs as of late. That's a little too late for Def Rebel, but. Yeah, and it's funny I say that, but then later on the show, Dakota Kai got a new theme song, and the theme song obviously has the Cero Miedo in there. It's one of the rare times where the catchphrase being in the song I actually don't mind, and because even AEW did that, but Penta showing up, having all of his mannerisms with the walk and everything, and him being in the ring against Chad Gable, which admittedly for a first opponent, Chad Gable I think was the perfect choice. It's like Chad Gable, who is capable of putting on a fantastic match, and Chad Gable's more mat-based technical style definitely, I think, melds well with Penta and the high flying and everything. And so I think having them paired together, or having a good first opponent for Penta in that regard in Chad Gable was very much the right move. Penta, seeing him sell the leg, he sold the leg. Hey, not to quote from the internet, but I might as well. He sold it like the rent was due. Essentially, he sold the crap that leg that was attacked. But let's still put on a very solid match, and even giving a little speech afterwards saying that the Penta era is here. And me personally, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what Penta does in WWE. He's one of the few luchadors I can think of who works not only as a face but as a heel. If you remember the Penta Oscuro days, especially in Lucha Underground, I am excited to see what he does. In WWE. Now, there was the report that came out that people were reportedly upset with Penta in his debut, saying it went too long, which a lot of people kind of sniffed out because Raw on Netflix was touted as being flexible. Heck, Raw on Netflix even ended a half hour early. He on Monday. I didn't watch all of Raw, just as a good portion of it, especially through Penta's debut. But a lot of people kind of sniffed it out that it doesn't really make any sense, and it turns out the report more than likely was faked, and that people were actually that Penta was actually received very well and were excited for the opportunity. So, it's what can you do when it comes to reporting like that? And that's why I say everything you read on the internet, take with a grain of salt, essentially. But hell of a debut still for Penta there, and I think this has Penta jumping ship from WWE, jumping ship to WWE from AEW. I should say, yeah, I am. The flubs are coming early today, ladies and gentlemen. But I think this is like the first real test when it comes to them building a lot of stars outside WWE, because we've seen other AEW stars jump ship to WWE. We've seen Cody Rhodes, we've seen Jade Cargill, we've seen CM Punk, we've seen Ethan Page even, and admittedly, I don't know if I mentioned on camera how Cody jumping ship, him being the first to jump ship would kind of lead to others jumping ship after him. I don't know if I necessarily said that on camera or if I said it in passing, especially to my friends as we talk about wrestling and stuff like that. But I think Penta will be the first real test because as he's in and he's got a big presentation, they're hot shotting him up to the main roster, so we'll see what they do with him as he continues his WWE career. But me personally, I'm excited to see Penta and his new endeavors. There's of course nothing against AEW, but I am excited to see what Penta does in his new home, and we will see if Ray Phoenix does indeed join him. Now, at this point in time, apparently Ray Phoenix's merch has been pulled from AEW shop and Pro Wrestling Tees, so either that means a lot of people interpreted that as either Ray Phoenix is on his way out, and we kind of figured he essentially had one foot out the door with what had came out and kind of what he had been kind of alluding to while in AEW, or they're just stifling him there and not letting him sell his merch and having him not profit from the merch. Which if the latter is the case, that's pretty messed up. But he will see when it comes to Penta. But next up, from a very high to a potential low. The Royal Rumble 2026 is going to be taking place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Oh boy! It was announced that, and at first it was announced by others. Admittedly, I did want to kind of wait it out to see if that was the case, and sure enough, WWE themselves announced it that the 2026 Royal Rumble, that being next year, will be taking place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The first official, I guess, like proper Royal Rumble to be taking place there. They did have the greatest Royal Rumble back in 2018, which kind of was anything but. This is being the first proper, I guess, Royal Rumble to be taking place in Riyadh, and reception to this has not been great. A lot of people were upset by it. It's probably no secret that a lot of people haven't really liked WWE's relationship with Saudi Arabia over the years since it began back in 2018, and them now having a Royal Rumble proper, that and potentially having a WrestleMania that they talked about wanting to have, and I'm trying not to say anything necessarily when it comes to the politics of Saudi Arabia and everything, and I'm trying to steer clear of that for understandable, obvious reasons. But a lot of people upset by it, very much, not too happy about something like this, especially with now the women now are of course being able to compete in Saudi Arabia that had changed. At first, the women weren't allowed to compete, but now obviously the women are able to compete now in Saudi Arabia. They just have to be fully covered up. But so a lot of people very upset by this. Me personally, it's something I kind of saw coming at some point, especially with them wanting a WrestleMania. In my opinion, this might be kind of a consolation. I don't know for sure, so don't quote me on that. That's kind of just speculation on my part. But it almost seemed inevitable that they would have a big event like this in the partnership with Saudi Arabia. I forget exactly when their partnership ends, but yes. In terms of the actual quality of it, though, we'll have to wait and see. I feel like since after the pandemic, the Saudi Arabia shows have been better than they were prior, but we will have to wait and see what happens there, and if that will tie into the or actually never mind, because the World Cup championships are their own thing, or not the World Cup championships. The Crown Jewel championships. That's what I meant, and those are kind of its own thing. So I don't know if they'll tie in, but we'll have to wait and see till next year to see how they pull off the Royal Rumble there. And the last thing that I want to talk about, something that I'm sure is of interest to quite a few people. Well, and something that I thought was interesting, which why I want to talk about it here. That's why essentially why it's here, is protecting your peace. Now, protecting your peace. That's something I'm sure a lot of you have seen floating around on the internet, on social media, what have you. But what exactly does it mean? To me, and people talk about protecting their peace, that means not allowing certain things to disturb or their peace, their well-being, and not devoting their time and energy into meaningless, pointless things. Now, that is one way it can be interpreted. Another way could be omission, that being certain things you don't want to acknowledge it or give attention to, who kind of just put it in the rear view in terms of protecting the peace, their mental well-being when it comes to certain people. So that's another way of seeing it. For me, I think things definitely go for the latter, because there have been plenty of things that disturb the peace. Now, sometimes the peace is bad. Sometimes peace can be bad because sometimes peace is omission, and that being omitting things that are evil, wrong, that have been done. And sometimes the peace has to be disturbed. But at other times, for me, protecting your peace, meaning if it's a situation that you're wrapped up in, if it's a situation that is really not good for any person involved, me, I try not to. And keyword try, because sometimes you have no choice. Sometimes you gotta face it head on. Sometimes you gotta roll up your sleeves and take care of it. But oftentimes, when it comes to protecting peace, protecting the peace, perhaps sometimes that's the thing. There's what's the best way I want to put it? There are a lot of different ways and a lot of different angles. Well, sometimes is the peace worth keeping? Is it worth not acknowledging something? Is it worth not entertaining something? Is it, or is something worth fighting for? I would say that's up to the individual person. I would say discern for yourself if it's worth disturbing your peace temporarily to get rid of it so your peace can be protected. But protecting your peace isn't inherently a bad thing. And in fact, people wanting peace in their life, wanting things to be civil, is understandable. It's natural. It's human. But what are you willing to do to protect your peace? Definitely examine that within yourselves. I know, I have for myself, and that's kind of what I get out of that. But let me know what you guys think. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on post notifications. Every time I upload a video, so you never miss an upload. And please subscribe, so I try not to flub like that anymore. But let me know in the comments below your reaction to anything we talked about in this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.